Have you ever stopped to think that learning English is not just about words? It's about becoming someone who surpasses himself, that raises his head even when everything seems difficult, someone who believes in his own potential. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today's Impact episode, learning to be someone, a journey beyond English. So stay here with me, because what I will tell you can change the way you see your walk. But before I start, let me tell you something important. Hearing practice, like the one you are doing now, is one of the most powerful keys to those who want to really learn English. And it's not just to understand words, it's to understand life. Listen carefully, absorb, repeat, make mistakes, try again. All this is part of the journey. This is how we learn. This is how a baby learns to speak. This is how you will learn too. I know it's not easy. You may have tried before. You may have been frustrated. I thought English was not for you. But take a deep breath. Because the truth is that if you understand this voice now, you've started. And this beginning is more than enough. You are here, listening, looking for, wanting to improve. And it already shows who you are. Someone who does not give up. Someone who wants to evolve. Then prepare the heart. Because the following story will move you. Once upon a time, there was a young man named Raphael. He didn't have many certainties in his life, but he knew one thing. He wanted to change. Not because the others said he needed it, but because deep down he felt that there was more inside him than the world could see. Raphael lived in a simple neighborhood, in a house that lived full of noise and carried that old feeling of whom he is trying. But it seems that nothing is forward. The school was difficult, the tiring work, and the time dripped by the fingers. But one day, something different happened. Raphael found an old notebook. In it, a note from the older brother who had moved years earlier to work abroad. Rafa, never underestimate the power of English. He was my door. That is also yours. That phrase was echoing. English was my door. But Raphael didn't even know where to start. He remembered the school classes, the words that seemed not to get into the head, the laughs when he missed the pronunciation of teacher. He remembered how small he felt close to those who seemed to have a gift. But now it was different. It was no longer just about a language. It was about identity. It was about breaking walls. It was about being someone. So he started with fear. He sought simple videos on the internet, repeated phrases in a low voice so as not to be heard, watched subtitle movies and tried not to sleep in tiredness. And every little victory was like lighting a candle in a dark room. The first time you understood an entire song, it was magical. The first conversation, even with mistakes, was liberating. But of course, the bad days also came. Those in which nothing seemed to make sense. In which the mind waged, self-esteem disappeared, and the desire to drop everything was hitting hard. And this is where most give up. But Raphael chose something different. He looked in the mirror and said, in English, with the heavy accent and all, I'm learning. I'm not perfect, but I'm learning. And do you know what is most interesting? This kind of attitude changes everything, because the journey of learning English deep down is the journey of building a new version of yourself. It's not about talking beautiful. It's about not being ashamed to try. It's about watching a video and saying, I understood that. It is about looking more affectionately, about being someone who, even tired, takes the next step. Raphael found that every new word learned was a brick placed in the construction of his future. And when we build our future, we change the present. Because it starts to walk more confidently, speak with more presence, and dream more true. Have you ever felt that? That feeling that no one sees how much you are trying? That everyone seems to advance, except you? What to study English looks more like a charge than a dream. If so, breathe. Because this journey is not a race. It is a process. And each has its own time. That's why, here in this channel, we talk to the heart. We understand the weight you carry. We know that you have gone through difficult phases, which you have already thought of giving up. But we also know that you are still here. And that already says a lot. Let's go back to Raphael. After a year studying every day, something amazing happened. He was called for an interview in a company that sought young people willing to learn and basic English knowledge. Raphael trembled. He remembered all the mistakes, the swallowed words, the days when he almost stopped. But it also remembered everything that surpassed. In the interview, he said slowly, asked to repeat some questions, got a little disrupted. But something was clear to the recruiter. That young man didn't know everything, but he had the courage. I had dedication. It had shine in my eyes. He wasn't just one more. He was becoming someone. And you? Have you noticed that every effort you make to hear English, understand a sentence, repeat a sound, is you bringing you closer to a new destination? Sometimes we look to English as a school subject, but what if we looked like a bridge? A bridge that connects you with the world, with opportunities, with your versions that you didn't even think existed. Think with me for a moment. How many doors have you stopped beating for fear of making mistakes in English? How many dreams did you find too big just because I didn't know if you would understand what you asked you in another language? Now imagine if you, from today, began to see this journey as a rebirth, a restart, a vote of confidence in yourself. Because deep down, learning English is that. Trust that you can, that you deserve, that you are capable. Raphael did not become a millionaire of the night to the day. It was not called to Hollywood, but he gained something that is worth more than all. He found that he didn't need to be perfect. He just needed to continue. And every new word he learned, it was like a step towards his best version. Over time, something curious began to happen to Raphael. He no longer saw English as a seven-headed animal. In fact, he began to realize that English was like a friend. A demanding friend, yes, but faithful. A friend who, every day, showed him new ways of seeing the world. He began to notice that his thinking was changing. His fears, although still present, no longer paralyzed him. His words, even with an accent, came out more firmly. And the most beautiful of all, he began to see himself with more love. Raphael understood that English was not just teaching a new language. I was helping him find out who he was. And this is where the story gains even more strength. One day, leaving a free online class, the day he did religiously even after a tiring day at work, Raphael heard a sentence from the teacher who was echoing in his mind for days. The phrase was simple but powerful. Don't try to be perfect. Try to be consistent. Don't try to be perfect. Try to be consistent. This phrase fell like a glove. Raphael understood that the secret was not to know everything, but to continue even when everything seemed difficult. And he made it a motto. He put it on paper, stuck on the bedroom wall, and read every day before starting his studies. Do you know that feeling that things finally start to make sense? Raphael started to feel it. Not because everything got easy, but because it got stronger. The words that once sounded strange began to sound family. He no longer felt a stranger against English. He was starting to dwell this new world with courage. But do you know what has changed most? Raphael began to inspire other people. Yes, that insecure young man who thought English was only for those who had money for exchange or natural gift became a point of light for others who were also in the fight. Occupational colleagues started asking for tips. The cousin, who had never tried, asked for a video link he recommended. Even his mother, who only knew how to say hello, began to ask the meaning of the songs he listened to. And that's when Raphael understood. Learning English is not an individual journey. It is a journey that spreads. When you change, you inspire. When you learn, you teach. When you win a barrier, you open ways for others to pass. You may be listening to this now and wondering, but can I? And the answer, with all the heart, is, of course, yes. You don't have to have the best mobile phone, nor the best headset, nor talk like a native. You just need something that is already in there, will. If you have arrived here in this video, if you are listening to each word carefully, you have taken more steps than many who have never even tried. And do you know something? The world needs more people like you. People who do not give up on the first stumble. People who dream loudly, even with their feet on the floor. People who understand that learning English is not just a way to make more money. It's a way to make more awareness. It is a way to expand the mind, to access new content, new cultures, new ways of seeing life. Raphael started watching motivational videos in English. At first, it paused with each sentence, repeated, came back. But over time, something magical happened. He started to understand without subtitles. It started laughing at the jokes, to be moved by the stories. And in a moment, in the silence of the room, he said to himself, I can do this. I can. And this simple and powerful phrase has become a fuel. From there, he set a bold goal, to make his first live on Instagram speaking in English. It seemed impossible, but he didn't want to impress. He wanted to inspire. On live day, with a rapid heart and hands sweating, he pushed the button and began, Hi everyone, my name is Raphael. I want to share my journey with you. It was simple. It was full of mistakes, but it was true, and the impact was immediate. Incentive comments, messages from people saying, I want it too, new followers, but above all, a deep feeling of mission accomplished. Raphael had won something that many do not even dare face: the fear of exposing themselves, the fear of making mistakes in public, the fear of not being good enough. And here comes the great lesson of this story. You don't have to wait ready to start. You need to start to get ready. This is one of the greatest truths of every growth journey, and not only in English but in life. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It does not exist. Make your current moment the starting point, even in fear, even with doubt, even with a short time. Like Raphael, you will stumble. You will forget words. It will crash in some sentences, but it will also smile. It will be moved. It will be proud of yourself like never before. And when you least expect it, you'll realize that something inside you has changed. Maybe not yet speak English fluently, but you will be someone different, stronger, more confident, more human. And that is what matters. Because learning English is not just about talking. It's about being. It is about becoming someone who is not limited. That does not shut up. That does not settle. It is about awakening an inner force that may be asleep, waiting for only the right opportunity to flourish. And if you are listening to it now, this opportunity can be today. So now, take a deep breath and look inside. Because what you are looking for with English is much bigger than a language. You are learning to be someone. Someone who faces challenges, who gets up after the fall, who continues even when everything seems to pull you back. And this is something no one can get from you. Remember Raphael? He didn't have all the answers, not all the resources, but he had one thing that made all the difference. He believed it was possible, even in silence, even slowly, even with fear. And that's what I want you to take with you after this video. English is just the beginning. The true transformation is there inside you. When you commit to the process, when you decide to continue even on difficult days, something changes in your gaze. You start to walk differently, to communicate better even in your own language, to have more presence, more conscience. You begin to find that your voice has power, that your journey is valid, that your story matters. And if you have come here listening to me, know one thing. You are already much more prepared than you think. Maybe still make mistakes, but who doesn't? Maybe still feel ashamed. But the courage to be here is already bigger than that. Take advantage of this moment and make a decision. Practice today. A short video, a song you like, a phrase you've learned now. Repeat. Speak aloud. Wrong is part, but give up no. And before you finish, let me give you advice. Celebrate your small victories. Every new word, every sudden understanding, every time you understand something without subtitles, it's a giant step in your walk. Because every little bit of progress is a reminder that you are growing up. And finally, if this message touched your heart, if you motivated you in any way, if you remind you that you are capable, then subscribe now on the channel. Leave your comment below telling you a little about your story. Tell me where you are listening, what your biggest challenge with English, or even what your biggest victory so far was. Your journey is important. And here, in this space, you will never be alone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening with your heart. May God bless your walk. May you keep growing, learning, and becoming a stronger and harder. And never forget, English can take you to amazing places, but you are becoming the process that really matters. We see each other in the next episode. Until then, keep learning, keep believing, keep being you.